All right, everyone, we got to talk about Roger Stone because briefly the other day, and this has happened like 5 friggin' times, Roger Stone is trending, and they're like, "Oh, Roger Stone was offered dirt from on Clinton by Russians. Woohoo! This time." And Krasenstein there, he's like attention seeking. He's like, "Well, this is the big kaboom. Basically, Trump gets impeached based on this. Ha ha ha." It's just like the Manafort stuff. It looks like the Mueller probe is basically Manafort at this point. When have they talked about anybody else? Doesn't mention Trump. Don't even talk about Michael Flynn anymore. Nobody but Manafort and his people. It looks like he was the mob linchpin of some sort. Of course, he worked with Democrats and Republicans alike and is basically a vague centrist a la Ronald Reagan. You do realize that he was Reagan's campaign manager. The Republicans don't want to talk about that, by the way. It's rather funny. Yes, the campaign manager of Cold War President number 1 is working for the KGB. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's bullshit. Here's the thing, though. Roger Stone was offered dirt on Clinton for exorbitant sums. He rejected the offer. Now, this story is interesting because it's sort of like with Kushner and Don Jr. They're meeting with that Russian who, by the way, had ties to the Democratic Party. That one particular individual, she was like going to like Clinton rallies and shit thereafter. Shows up at the Trump Tower on other business pretenses and then immediately launches into a diatribe about Clinton-der. This is around the Steele dossier period. And they rejected it. And they were like, I guess, laughing about it afterwards. They're like, no, I'm not going to take the offer. So you want an exorbitant sum of money for dirt you may not even have. No, we're not going to touch this one with a 10-foot pole. They rejected the offer insofar as they did nothing illegal. Look, having a person, again, tied to the Democratic Party, show up and offer you something when they've used other pretenses to get a meeting with you in the first place, that's not illegal. You've rejected the offer. Even if you're not officially on the Trump campaign and you could talk about that dirt if you wanted to, pay whatever you wanted, you didn't even take it. Roger Stone didn't either. This almost vindicates the Trump administration. Look at the situation for how it really is. Individuals that appear to have had ties to the Democratic Party offered non-existent dirt and were repeatedly rejected. That shows a positive quality, a positive trait towards these people. It's not a blot on Roger Stone's character to be offered by another person potentially damaging information on another person's political campaign. It's if you accept that and deploy that information for political purposes that it would be a blot on your character. Even then, it wouldn't necessarily be illegal. Look, Roger Stone was never officially part of the Trump campaign. He's not an official Trump proxy. He's not an official Trump fundraiser. He doesn't run a super PAC for Trump. He's an unofficial advisor and personal friend of Donald Trump. It is totally different. If he had paid for damaging info on Clinton, wouldn't have broken any laws that I know of. It wouldn't have even been illegal. Rudy Giuliani comes out. He's like, oh yeah, even if this were to have happened, it would be legal. People do op research all the time. Yes, true. Jeb Bush's team originally funded the nonsensical Steele dossier, the one that they briefly tried to revive that when they had like a 1 in a million chance that part of the dossier was actually true. Then, of course, their dream sunk again. You remember when they were tweeting about that briefly? It's like each time that anything related to Russia, Mueller, Manafort, Flynn, Don Jr. and Kushner and the Trump Tower meeting, Ivanka, any of these things, it briefly goes viral. And then when people realize it's literally fucking nothing again, like it was the last 20 times, they stop talking about it. I wonder why. It's because the big tech firms and the corporate media basically torpedo their own trending stories regularly in order to get people to hush up about them once it becomes inconvenient. It's basically for a few hours, it's a festival of, oh, Trump is impeachable. And then when, more people would realize that that's not actually the case because sane Alta media voices weigh in and say, hey, it's nothing again. It deals with someone 10 steps removed from Trump. Oh, Trump's fifth cousin is in Russia right now and just got, arrested for bootleg liquor. Impeachable offense. That's basically how it's working at this point. And it's so dumb. So you're telling me, imagine, let's say someone had a bunch of doxes of corporate media heads, and they come to me and they're like, hey, Sticks, if you pay 10 grand, I'll give you this list. And I say no. There's no crime committed. I have no further responsibility. I'm basically like, fuck off. That's all you gotta do. Even if you bought that information, it wouldn't necessarily be illegal, though. It's not even clear. It's like with these 13 Russians that were indicted. It's not clear that they taking money from the Kremlin, essentially, which is what they did, and then making ads for Facebook, making memes, How is that illegal? Under what specific law is it illegal for It's not election tampering. They're not stuffing ballot boxes. They're just targeting ads to people in certain states for a political reason. They're also doing it on behalf of Bernie Sanders. Nobody talks about that aspect. It seems like Bernie Sanders was the Soviet choice. I wonder why. It's because he would have crushed the U.S. economy. Don't get me started on Clinton and her ties with Uranium One and all this other bullshit. Clinton has taken money from China. Clinton's taken money from the Saudis, from the Qataris, from Morocco, apparently. She was given large sums of money for basically sending Bill and Chelsea to the wedding of some mining magnate down in Morocco. You know, some blood diamond magnate or something, having a wedding. They wanted Hillary to show up. She's like, no, I'm busy campaigning. I'll send Bill and Chelsea. And I guess that was considered acceptable. And then, you know, the Clinton Foundation got lots of money for it. None of it ended up in the Clinton campaign, though. I still see reports, people talking all the time. And this has been long debunked. Oh, the Clinton Foundation is so highly rated. It's one of the most respected charities. And then you find out, of course, most of its money goes towards administrative costs. Meanwhile, the Trump Foundation, they're constantly talking about how, oh, it's embezzled money and blah, blah, blah. And each time, again, the report comes out shortly, is trends for a while, is debunked, and then drops off the face of the earth. This has happened about 1,000 times already in the last year. It's conspicuous because it's not just one media site. It's many media sites. Looks like they're coordinating. If I had to guess, I would say some degree of coordination between many of these firms is going on. Then you have people that are like they had Clinton ties as revealed by emails from the Clinton campaign with certain reporters and journos and heads and CEOs of media groups, and you find out that most of the legacy media was definitely on board with the Clinton campaign. But Roger Stone did nothing illegal that we can tell. Has he been indicted, you know, for being offered dirt on the Clinton campaign? It's not illegal. He's not going to get indicted either. People are constantly talking. There was a story, I can't remember what it was trying to eclipse. There was a trend on Twitter that was like pro-Trump. This was a few weeks ago, I think. And then if you actually went to it, the top story that was like sort of pinned there by Twitter was Roger Stone, does a bad thing. And it was just a predictive piece. It was an opinion piece. That it was pretending, it was basically LARPing that Roger Stone was about to get thrown in jail. He did nothing wrong. He's an unofficial advisor. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. He can talk to Russians all day. Oh yeah, I think it was because he was messaging with WikiLeaks. And you look, and the actual story is, hey, this isn't illegal. It's perfectly fine. Yeah, he can tweet at WikiLeaks. He can message him and say, oh yeah, I want dirt on Clinton. What have you got for me? It's not illegal. He's a private citizen. The fact that he's a personal friend of a political candidate does not matter. Is there any evidence Trump ordered him to communicate with WikiLeaks? Okay, then maybe you have a story. I guarantee that's not the case. Roger Stone pretty much does his own thing anyway. He's a brash individual. It's no wonder he's friends with Trump. It's just sort of his fucking personality. The same with Giuliani and all these people. I'm surprised he didn't try to make Howard Stern Secretary of State. I think it'd probably be better for the nation if he had. Judging from the last moron we had in that post, yeah, I think it would have been a good thing. That's about all. Peace out.